Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to our Surah series. So today in this session, we will be exploring Surah Al-Feel. That's a chapter that tells you the dramatic story how Allah protected the Kaaba from destruction by sending an army of birds against an army of elephants. Many of us might have heard about, the year of elephant, the year when Prophet Muhammad was born. But how often do we reflect on the lessons behind this incident? What does this Surah Al-Fil teach us about Allah's power and protection? How does this historical event remind us of the limits of human arrogance and how we can apply these lessons in our modern day life? Let's explore the background, the key themes, and the life lessons from this very powerful surah. Let's look at the background and the revelation context first. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephant? So, this surah refers to a real historical event that happened in the year 570 CE. That's known as, Al-Fil. So, the year of elephant. And this was, same year that Prophet Muhammad was born. So, the question is, who was Abraha? Abraha was a powerful Christian ruler from Yemen, and he built massive cathedral in Sana'a, hoping to divert Arab pilgrimage from the Kaaba to the church. But when his plan failed, he decided to destroy the Kaaba itself. And the attack on Makkah, if you see, Abraham marched towards, Makkah with a huge army and elephants, believing that nothing could stop him. And that powerful he was, and the Qurayshis were helpless. They had no army to fight back. But then Allah sent his army of birds to destroy the invaders in a miraculous way. And this event was so significant that even non-Muslims in Arabia remembered it for generations. And it proved that Allah alone is the true protector, and no one, not even the mightiest of the rulers, can challenge his will. So, what is the overall meaning of this Surah Al-Fil? Let's look at that. This surah, in fact, reminds us of Allah's power over everything else. And, Abraha came with an army of, full of, war elephants and thinking that he's invincible. But Allah destroyed him and his army using tiny birds carrying small stones. So the question is, did he not make their plan go astray? Abraham thought his plan was perfect, but no plan succeeds without Allah's permission. Remember, no plan succeeds without Allah's permission, even if you have the greatest of the plan. And he sent against them birds in flocks. So Allah used the smallest creatures in the world, as you see, to defeat the greatest army, the greatest creatures. The exact opposite is what you see over there. And striking them with the stones of hard clay. Each bird carried small pebbles, but when they fell, they pierced through the bodies of the soldiers, and he made them like eaten up straw. So by the end of the attack, Abra's army was completely destroyed, as if, they had never even existed. So what's the lesson here? No matter how powerful someone may seem, they are powerless against the will of Allah. So you might be powerful, but if you're going against the will of Allah, then you are going to be extremely powerless. So the key themes of the surah, it's all about Allah's absolute power and control over everything. So Abraha had a huge army, as I discussed, war elephants and the advanced weapons at that point of time. The Qurayshis had nothing, but they had Allah. So Allah didn't send another army to fight him. He used the small birds, as I discussed, to destroy the greatest military force at that point of time. And he sent against them birds in flocks. That's a verse of the surah. So see, never think, that lesson is, never think that strength and power come from material resources. True power belongs to Allah. So that's the lesson that you can learn from here. So nothing material, nothing, you cannot get power from that material resources. Everything from Allah. And if you look at the protection of the Kaaba and the divine intervention here, the Quraysh didn't fight Abraha. Who fought against Abraha? If you see, it's Allah himself defended his house. And this was a sign for all future generations that the Kaaba is sacred. He did not make their plan go astray. What's the lesson? When we rely on Allah, He protects us in ways we could never even imagine. Who thought that Abraha will fail here, right? With that greatest army. and that too against a flock of that bird flock. Now, if you see one of the lesson, arrogance that can lead to destruction. So Abraha was filled with arrogance and pride at that point of time. He thought he could defy Allah and destroy the Kaaba with that mightiest force and the soldiers and the elephants and everything that he had, the material forces that he had. But what happened in the end, at the end of the day? He was humiliated in the worst way possible, and it seems like his army was never even existed. That too with the tiny bird flock, and he made them like eaten up straw. So, no matter how powerful a person or a nation may seem, if they act with arrogance, Allah can destroy them in an instant. So, that's the lesson. He made them like eaten up straw. No matter how powerful a person or a nation, whatever it is, it may seem, but if they act arrogant, Allah can destroy them in, in an instant. So, what are the lessons from this surah? See, never underestimate the power of Allah. Allah can turn the weakest force into the strongest weapon. Even the smallest creatures can destroy the mightiest armies, the birds against the elephants, the smallest against the biggest, right? Arrogance always lead to defeat. History have proven in fact that every arrogant ruler eventually fail and fall. So whether it was Pharaoh or Nimrod or Abraha, every arrogant ruler eventually failed. So that's the history, and history repeat. So no one with even an atom's weight of arrogance will enter Jannah. That's what Prophet Muhammad said. So see, trust in Allah's protection. Always trust in Allah's protection. When we rely on Allah, He defends us in ways that you never expect. You can never even imagine how He protected Kaaba here, right? Even when we feel very weak, extremely weak, Allah is our greatest of the shield and the strength. So believe in Allah, trust in Allah's protection. He's there to protect us. So again, power and wealth, that mean nothing without Allah. All these material resources are nothing. Abraha had a greatest army of his time, that point of time, if you see, with everything, but he was helpless before Allah's command. Real success is not in power, not in the material resources, but in being humble and obedient to Allah. So how can you apply the surah in your life? First and most important, don't have arrogance and stay humble. No matter how successful we become, remember, arrogance lead to destruction. So stay humble and always thank Allah for every blessings that you got in life. That's the step one, stay humble. Step two, trust in Allah's protection. So when you face any difficulties, when faced with any difficulties, remember that Allah controls all things and He is watching you. He is there to protect you. Even if the whole world is against you, Allah can make the impossible happen. So trust in Allah's protection, pray and believe. Okay. And the step three, which I can tell you, is recognize that the strength is an illusion. The material resources and everything is illusion. True strength actually doesn't come from money, power, or armies that we talk about in this world, that money give you strength, power, and everything. That's not the case. It's not the armies. It's not the people around you. It's not your bodyguards. It's not the power. It's not the money. It comes from faith. It comes from righteousness and reliance and belief and trust on Allah. So, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. If you rely upon Allah, if you trust Allah, and if you have faith in Him, then of course He is sufficient for you. So in conclusion, what I want to tell you is this Surah Al-Feel, is powerful reminder that Allah alone controls the destiny of nations and individuals, or for that matter, anything. Abraha thought he was invincible, right? But he was destroyed by birds, the smallest of the creature. That's enough for Allah to destroy the mightiest of the enemies or the army. The Qurayshis thought they were powerless. They could do nothing, but Allah protected them. So you also may come across this situation. So what you need to have is faith on Allah, belief on Allah, and trust His protection. He will protect you. The most impossible way that you think. And this surah definitely teaches us that the real power and security comes only from Allah, not from any material resources, not from money, not from power, not from armies, nothing. So let's make the commitment today that you're going to stay humble from today onwards. No arrogance. trust in Allah's plan and trust in Allah's protection. Never be arrogant, no matter how successful you become. So that's about this session. Thank you so much. You can comment below what one session, one lesson that you have learned from Surah Al-Feel. So that's about this session. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. May Allah bless us all.